American woman, as an advocate for children's rights and women's rights in the UN. And I try and give people contrast so they can see where they live and how privileged they are. The lady from Manal introduced me to Global Ties, and she said, Gertrude, I think you would really fit into this organization. They're dynamic. Go in and meet Adele. And we had several cups of coffee, which have led to some amazing connections in terms of helping me create the life of my dream in New Mexico. I asked if I could volunteer in any women's organizations or organizations to do with young girls. I have a passion for girls to get a good education. And I was introduced to the Girl Scouts of Albuquerque. Found myself one day giving a presentation in the governor's mansion in Santa Fe. I had no idea where I was until the event was over. And then I was connected to the Albuquerque Film Office through another connection. And when I started investigating filming in New Mexico versus California, it made no sense for me to leave. As a filmmaker, you get 35% back on every dollar you spend in New Mexico. The cost of living is amazing. So by day 5 of my stay in Albuquerque, I signed a 1-year lease for an apartment in Nob Hill, 10 minutes from the University of New Mexico. Had no idea how I was going to stay. But again, through a magical series of introductions, I had a meeting with the University of New Mexico's Cinematic Arts Department and was offered a 5-year contract as a part-time lecturer and a research scholar. And I kind of feel like I am in the middle of a dream right now. There is something about New Mexico that reminds me of home. I can't film in Zimbabwe. We have been living under a dictatorship for 35 years. And the backdrop to my story is political, and it shares the HIV story. The way it has impacted me is this. My grandmother had 11 children. She had 34 grandchildren. 19 of my first cousins have died of HIV-related diseases. There are 49 orphaned kids on my side of the family, another 40 on my ex-husband's side. So I have a project back home in Zimbabwe that sponsors children's education. My foundation now sponsors 580 children with a passion and a vision to expand this. So my film is really an expensive commercial for my work in Africa. And what I want to try and do is to inspire people like me, people of African descent, to go back home to their prospective countries and help. Zimbabwe's population is 14 million. 1.1 million are HIV orphans. We have children on the streets hustling to survive at the age of 8, and they are the heads of households, looking after siblings. So I got involved actively with Global Ties, and they had a delegation that came a few months ago of 27 women from 27 African countries. And so they said, Gertrude, can you give a presentation on leadership in civil society? I jumped in and did that and connected with 27 powerful women, invited them to my home, cooked them an African meal, and before I knew it, I realized I could be the person who represents Africa in Albuquerque. And I got really excited about that. But it has led to an opportunity for me to tour Africa next year. I only knew 2 of the 27 countries. I'm from the South, so I get to go back home to Africa and speak, and I've never had an opportunity to do that before. And it is through this organization that this has come to being. So, civil diplomacy, what does it mean? It means that as citizens of a place, we connect one-on-one with the strangers that come into our environment. We give them advice. We show them directions of places to go. We connect them with the people in our networks. I think, as far as the United States is concerned, it is every single person's responsibility to be a diplomat for this country. I was fearful, I'll be honest with you, about coming to live in America. America has got a very bad rap. Especially for me as a black woman in the United States. A lot of my friends said, Gertrude, you're crazy. What are you doing? New Zealand is the safest country in the world. And since I got here, I have experienced just the most magical experiences. And what I've been trying to do since I came is, through Facebook and through social media, I post pictures of events and activities that are happening. I write for the Huffington Post. I've been able to write a few articles about events that are happening in the state. And although New Mexico is the third poorest state in the United States, there are a lot of opportunities here. So I want to thank you, Stephanie, for giving me your card. Now, for those of you who are here with a delegation, please connect with every single person in this room. The universe has got a magical way of putting people together. Last week, I was approached by a woman, a baroness from Los Angeles. Her name is Kimberly Moore, and she asked me to support her in writing a series of children's books. And out of one conversation, I showed her how to repurpose the book, turn it into a movie, a board game, a range of children's clothes. And I said, I will find you organizations of women who are producing clothes so we can inspire women. So Stephanie, I will be in touch and we will see how we can work with you. So thank you for doing what you did. Never go to an opportunity like this without a business card. Even if you have to scribble your name on a piece of paper, we bump into people for a reason. And I'm really grateful for having this opportunity to share just briefly what has been my life in the 11 months that I've been here. I feel like I'm in the middle of my dream. And in the vision that I was given when I started writing the script, it was about 2 weeks before I launched my first book, which is a memoir. But I woke up in the middle of a dream, and in the dream, it was a dream of my funeral. And somebody was reading my eulogy, and they were putting my body in the ground. And as they read the things that I was going to achieve, they said that I was going to create a foundation that would reach the 1.1 million orphaned kids in Zimbabwe and the 17 million children in Africa. They said that I was going to write a movie script that was winning 8 Oscars. Now, when I was living in New Zealand, I got an opportunity to work with Peter Jackson when he was filming King Kong. They needed African extras. I put up my hand, I created a database and supplied all the ethnic extras that took part in King Kong and Avatar and acted in both films, quit my day job and became a filmmaker at the age of 37. So I'm here in New Mexico to make this movie, and I would love you to connect with me through social media so I can keep you informed. But this is now home for me. And anytime that Global Ties needs me to be here to support anybody who comes into the community, I am there. Magic happens when you give of your time, you give of your energy. And it's been an absolute privilege to present here today, so thank you.